where I think that it would be really just I'm not like I'm not disappointing like myself. I know what you said where
Mm-hmm.
you're like, "Oh, if we start this podcast, we're either going to have this expectation of we're disappointing ourselves or disappointing other people." And I'm just like, I can't be disappointed in this. This is like
No.
a really good foot forward, or this is a really good I don't know, like I don't feel pressured by this. The only thing I would ever want is that everything is coherent and I said all I needed to say coherently. You know what I mean?
I think it's the pressure on ourselves that we put because we want it to do well. We want to do our best. We don't want to disappoint whoever it is on the other side either. It's that pressure. It's
Yeah, but who is that person on the other side? Like, who is why am I impressing some random, am I thinking of somebody? Like, you know what I'm saying?
if we want I feel like the topic can go very deep because that can go back to like childhood or the ego, you could say.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, if we're going to go back and talk about the ego, that is definitely something because we want to look perfect. We want, it's that image. You know what? Failure is a stepping point into evolving. I feel like you need to fail or things can't be perfect. Like imagine if everything was perfect. How boring is that?
What is it when you think of like if everything was perfect then we'd always feel an elation about, I don't know, like when people are like, oh, it's perfect, you never really see, I guess, the beauty if everything is perfect, because the point of beauty and perfection is that at one point there isn't. If everything's perfect, then nothing is. And that's why usually this stagnation happens with
Yep.
your life, because what is it, oh, because at one point I kept writing every day, like every single day I was so consistent with gratitude and shit. I used to just be like, I'm grateful for the place I live, I'm grateful for my rabbi, I'm grateful for my boy, and every day I would do it until I was like, I'm kind of over being grateful for all this shit. And I think that's exactly where it is. You don't know where you're at until you don't have these things anymore. Because imagine one day where I don't have my bunny anymore. I'm like, God, I'm at a loss. Like he's always been under my desk, and
Mm-hmm.
now it's a presence that I miss. Perfection, if always, is always going to be mundane. That's why we love art so much, is because it's the absence of both perfection and failure. It just is, and we never ever realize that.
Also, repetition too. Too much of it. Because repetition can be a pro and con. I feel like repetition too can lead to boredom. And that can cause that stuck mentality too. Because when you do the same thing over and over, you get into a loop and it becomes boring. And then you get stuck into that trap mentality of it becomes a safety net. You don't want to go outside the box. And then that's where the stress happens too, because it's just a mental loop of doing the same shit over and over. And it's frustrating, and that could lead to like that can be from an artist's point of view, that can be a worker's point of view, but it's shitty, and it's trying to figure out how to get out of that stuck mentality.
Man, I can't believe we're talking about feeling stuck.
we finally did it. We finally did.
We did it. We got the hook.
We got the hook.
It's the hook. We did it. We did. Write that down. Write that down.
Gold We tried our best to try and like get into this topic.
It's been 5 minutes and we finally got the hook.
We finally got the hook.
My name is what is it? We're trying here. We're trying our best because if we wanted perfection from this podcast, this is not the place. Hi, my name is Mercy, and I am a digital artist from Arkansas in the United States. And pretty much, I'm sometimes dabble in theater because I'm also a costume designer for theater. I'm a seamstress and all that. I do fun sewing stuff. Recently, I started getting into doing more of the artist business side, along with my lovely co-host.
I'm Zoe, and I'm a digital artist from Australia, Melbourne. I studied horticulture. I got to pronounce that correctly because I feel like the accent might throw people off. Horticulture. So It's a study about plants and nature, so I did that. I also love astrology, constellations, the moon. I love photography. I'm one of those people that will go around with a camera and just take photos of the most random stuff. And my favorite anime is One Piece. I have a very large collection of figurines from that anime. It's definitely my favorite, and I love a good range of anime. I don't think I have a particular one that I don't really like.
Well, not to keep talking about you, but you have so many niche anime like favorites. I remember you were like, "Hey guys, I recommend Monster," and I was like,
Monster's
"What?"
fantastic. Monster is brilliant. Trust me, I don't want to waste the recording on Monster, but I could easily do so. That is a brilliant anime. I recommend that one. That is top.
Well, you
Psychological.
have. Let me get this recommendation in real quick. But Zoe, we have to tell them the biggest thing about me and you that bring us together, and that is
that's right.
We
are both doing Artist Alley. We both that is the reason, correct? Multiple reasons. There's probably plenty heaps of reasons, I'm sure.
The next goal of us getting better at this is to somehow cue each other. We so yeah, we're starting we want to do Artist Alley, which is, and not a lot of people know what Artist Alley is. When you go to a convention, there's either a vendor's hall that sells official merch of the show or any fandom that you're watching, but then the next section is the Artist Alley, which is a bunch of small artists who don't make official merch. They make unofficial merch or original work, and it's usually like fan art. Sometimes it's apparel. I'm the one who dabbles in the apparel, and Zoe is actually the one who does most of the print and the poster art.
Yeah, the prints. Yeah, it's exciting. I can't wait.
I don't know anything about
if we were to bring this, so digital prints. So I work on my iPad, draw, and send it off to make posters and whatnot.
I wish you would lean more into those enamel pins too, because you have those huge enamel pins you did, and I know you said you didn't like manufacture them yourself, but they're still like super cool.
No, that shout out to Serenity Darko for those pins. She is awesome. She's a pin maker. She asked me if it was okay to have one of my designs. She went on my page and went, "Look, I want to design one." I was like, "Yeah, go for it." And there's a few. I've got a few from her, and it's, each time she makes one, she always sends one over to me, which is she's awesome. She's from Canada, so. But yeah, that's probably pins is something I'll probably look into in the future too. I think baby steps, because it's first time, it's very daunting.
Oh yeah, you haven't even got your print samples in.
No, I'm still waiting on my sticker sample, so it's all very early.
We're now at artists that are doing Artist Alley and just art business in general. Like, regardless if we're gonna either do Artist Alley that is in a physical location or online. Like, the whole thing is that me and you have done like a massive step. Because I see a lot of artists that like the massive step for them is the finishing something and manufacturing.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, the manufacturing part is so easy. Like, the reason we are such good friends as we are now, or better friends than we were, is because we're going on this like artist business journey together.
It's a journey. It is, watching other artists and seeing how they did it. And the key of that also, remember how you mentioned that, don't look at how they are now, that they're very, successful. Look at how they begun, which is an awesome, I love that, because that's where that perfection comes in. That's where that feeling of being so overwhelmed, it causes you to be stagnant, because you get so overwhelmed, you feel stuck. You're like, I can't move forward because it's not gonna, it's not gonna work out. And that's that stress that comes through. So I definitely, there's been multiple times I've wanted to do Artist Alley, and for many years I've said, no, I'm not going to start it because it's so daunting. It's so, I could never do that, and that was that stagnant energy coming in, because it was just me doing the damage to myself. And it wasn't until this year, around June, July, I went to Comic-Con and met up with a friend, Abs Art. If you don't know who he is, look him up. He is awesome, another Australian artist. I met up with him and worked alongside him. I just watched from the sidelines and watched how he did it.
Weren't you in his booth? Like you helped, like, we weren't a salesperson, but you were like a helper.
Yeah, I was in his booth and just watching him. freaking awesome stuff. He's incredible. And it just felt really good to, even though it wasn't my work or I wasn't selling at that time, to have that little bit of experience kind of helped with that stress or that confidence. Like, no, I can do this. Like, my friend, you know, I met him 6-7 years back when he first started, and I'm sure he went through the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it really helped with the confidence of feeling, oh, no, I can do that. You know, I don't have to, you know, put a pause in a dream, because it's on my bucket list. I said to myself, I want to do this at least once. Who knows, if I continue it, if I do, I do, if I don't, I don't. I want to at least experience it. I don't want to grow up and look back and think, oh man, I didn't try that, you know, I wish I did. So this is definitely very exciting, and getting out of that stuck mentality of, you know, doing the same things over and over, you know, change it up. That's where the fun is. You know, you
Well,
think back. Oh, continue,
I was
please.
gonna say that was the no, it's okay. I was gonna say, like, whenever you said like, oh, but that's like, you know, the reason I wanted to get out of it. But like, as soon as you went to a convention, and thank God you like were a helper, so you could like see like how realistic. Like, it's the whole thing is just like whenever I went to an artist alley, I've been going to conventions since I was like 10, and I never knew I wanted to do artist alley. I just knew I knew how to draw, but it wasn't until I started watching what is her name, Catnip illustrations on YouTube.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she doesn't do artist alley anymore. She is like goated with the sauce. She has her own online business and her own, like, what is it, office space, and it's all original. It's not fan art anymore. She used to do fan art. She's grown from it, but the way she started out and was just so like humble. And now, like, what is it? You look back and you like her recent shit is like, hey guys, I'm buying this industrial printer. I'm, you know, doing, and I was just thinking to myself, like, she went from this small booth into like, you know, just like,
That's the beauty of it, though. That is the beauty. That's where
yeah.
the imperfections, not saying that she's imperfected,
No
but the
shit.
imperfection of our, yeah,
Well,
the,
it's the beginnings.
yeah, it's the beginning stage. Nothing is perfect. And that's the journey. That's the beauty of it, because you learn as you go. You know, imagine if you had everything
Mm-hmm.
already. Like, not only is the build up of the journey, and, you know, you learn as you go, you learn how you are as a person, because who knows if this is exactly how she felt, but looking at from an outside perspective,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure like she started off, and as she grew, she learned more about herself too. So her art and her overall business ends up being more of her identity.
It's the evolution of it,
Yeah,
you know.
which is awesome.
Because you see so many, because the one thing I always said to myself, and it's the reason why I always felt like so stuck, and this might be a little bit like this might be a little bit dark of a thought, but I'm gonna say it because there might be, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like someone just like me out there. But I used to think to myself that I will always fail no matter what I did, and
Mm-hmm.
whether that was like the universe making me fail, or like I couldn't live up to a standard for everyone or a standard of myself. I used to think that, and the mentality of it was I always felt like no matter what I did, it is doomed to fail. Like, and I shouldn't even
Yeah.
try. And because that's I've kept myself like that for years. Like, I've wanted to do Artist Alley for years, like 17. I've wanted to be an artist. I always wanted to do this thing, but I always told myself, you know, as soon as I start drawing on it, I'm like, this isn't good enough. No one's ever gonna like it. No one's ever gonna. And it's because I saw the way that so many Artist Alley people just are there evolved versions. Like, I will never,
Mm-hmm.
I love seeing on TikTok or like Instagram, like when they would post like, hey, this is the evolution of my booth, and I was like, wait a minute, you were just like me at one point. Not saying that their art is bad, but it was their art, like, what is it, isn't as what is it called, the more curated version, because they've had longer to
Yeah.
look at
Yeah.
it. Like, they did start out with 5 prints and like 4 stickers at one point, and their booth was minimal. I'm looking at the people who have like the fucking 26
Yes.
prints, and like they're all
Yes.
rendered,
Yeah.
when actually they
Yeah.
started out being like like I said, it's not that it was bad, but this is not like the level that they were at. You know, it was the effort, it was the persistence. Like the reason I feel stuck is because of this expectation and low standard. And
Yes.
that's kind of like the pitfall of a lot of like the social media that you'll see where it's like, you know, don't look at someone's life because this, you know, isn't reality. And to me, the reason I bring up catnip so much, and I owe a lot to this, you know, woman. She did nothing but just be herself. But I said to myself, she posts consistently, like every single week for like the past 5 years I've been watching her, and I and I thought to myself, if she can exist on this earth and have nothing like happen to her to where she is like failing every second, then that could happen to me. You know, if there is one person out there that is doing this consistently, then that just proves to me I can also be somebody that happens to. And I don't know, it was just such a big realization that it's one of those things where if you don't believe there's any good in anyone and you're the only one, well, that's not true, because if you're a good person and you have good morals, there's someone out there that's just like you. You're not an isolated incident. Like and in a way I've been told is narcissistic to think that you're the only good person, that you're the only person that can feel this way. And I live with somebody who is a cynic. Like my boyfriend is very optimistic, but he's cynical. And the way I've always been before meeting him was, you know, I'm alone in this. I struggle every day, and there's nothing that can get me out of this. This is my life. This is how I live. And then all I hear the next second is, shut the fuck up. Are you fucking kidding me? You think you're the one who's gonna die on the cross when my grandma exists? And it just like,
it's a wake-up call though. I love it because it's a form of grounding. It's a way of like, no, we are not gonna make you fly off with the fairies. Like, let's bring you back down and like look at it as a realistic point of view. Like, I love that. That's funny. That is great. And you know what, you always need someone like that in your life. I feel like everyone needs, whether it be an animal, person, you know, or a place where you can go and reground yourself, because sometimes you can get caught up in your own mental thoughts. But people punish themselves though. Because, you know, nowadays a lot of the work ethic is go go go, and we are as a society so stressed about, you know, goals. If I don't do this, I'm seen as a failure. But people forget to have that break, and then they punish themselves for having that break because it's unproductive. But however, that is not unproductive. It's a recharge. You know, you need that. It's very important. And sometimes a lot of the ideas or the things that you're looking for are in those moments, because your mind begins to stop, and that's very important. And if we're linking that back into feeling stuck, that is a reason why people can feel stuck, is because they're not having time to get out of that lost and stranded feeling. You know, they're unable to change it, or they feel weird for changing a routine. Sometimes you need to get away from it. I always feel like ways that help me personally get out of a stuck feeling, because this whole week has been an in and out of a stuck feeling. The things I find that helps me get unstuck is I'd go outside, change up the routine. You know, if you stay in the same loop, it's not going to change, and you get bored, and it's draining, and it's depressing. You just got to fucking change it up.
Well, whenever you were
Are we
talking
allowed to
this
swear?
week,
Are we
what was
allowed
that?
to swear on this?
Are you
Are we
about to
allowed
swear?
to swear?
Yes, are you kidding me?
I was sitting here going, hold up.
Are we allowed to
Are we allowed to swear?
Are you? If I wasn't allowed to swear on this, that would be really fucked up.
That's funny. Oh,
can you imagine the level of censorship? Like, we're talking some deep shit about like, hey guys, we feel stuck because we're not able to live up to the grindstone that you know, this.
We're not allowed to swear.
That's the last thing. Oh my god. Well, what is it? There's restrictions.
Oh, that's hilarious.
There's restrictions like YouTube has, like, you can't say the word suicide, you can't say the word, like, and that's so fucked up, because it's like, that's not real. That's, you know, it's one of those, obviously.
Oh, they would pick it up. They
Yeah.
would pick it up, and yeah,
Bullying is a different
maybe we should be
topic.
careful.
Well, yeah, but like I said, like bullying is a different topic because I think that's how like it's working now. Is that like it's in a derogatory sense, but the whole thing is that like we need to go on this whole thing of being real, and that's why we wanted to talk about,
Yes.
you know, feeling stuck, is because I have yet to see anyone really address like these things. And the reason we did the intro is to say that we are artists, because in this medium where it is like, you know, the artist mentality is how can I be better, how can I be good, how can like everyone like, and the whole point of art is that it is what it is. It can't be
Mm-hmm.
perfect, it can't be bad,
No,
it just is.
but also too, art is a reflection of the person. I always look at someone's art and go, you know, they've put their soul in it. It's a form of them, and that's where that feeling too of stress and anxiety can come into it too. Because when someone doesn't like your artwork, a lot of the times, well, 90% of the time, I can't speak for all, but they take that to heart, because it's like, you don't like my art, you don't like me, because you as an artist
Put
put your
yourself.
energy in towards that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that can also cause the feeling of being stuck, because it's like, if a group of people, and look, not all audience is gonna like your art, but let's just say like a certain group, that can cause a stuck feeling in the artist, because it's like, now I can't be myself, or I can't feel like I need to be myself, I need to do
Yes.
something else to please, and then that causes more damage because you're not being authentic, you're not
Exactly.
being your true self, you're not being unique, and that causes the depression, the anxiety, the, you know, I can't get further, I'm just doing the same thing. And it's hard. I feel like that is a journey itself. You can't just turn around and tell someone like, oh, just be yourself and do whatever you want.
Oh
That's
my
a journey.
god. The fucking
It's a journey. Yeah.
the whole idea, like everyone has heard the whole thing of like be yourself, but no one ever like talks about the reasons why no one can be their self. It's because for
Yeah.
one, you know, like, oh, but it has to be perfect. It has to be like this. You're putting yourself in a box, but I want to say it a little bit harsher than that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not putting yourself in a box. It's absolutely like trying to not be yourself. Like you're trying to follow this this guide of what you think, and it doesn't even have to be about fan art. Like it could just be like, oh, but this person, or not even this person, nobody would like it. I hear so many times of artists, regardless if it's their anime or like anything, just artists being like, I'm scared no one will like it. And it's like the whole thing of like, listen, the whole point of an artist to somebody else is that we are not going to like a lot of other artists' art. But that's, you know, that's the personal taste and personal preference. And that's human nature. We are all not going to like each other, and we're all not going to like what each other makes. I don't like Picasso. I can understand why he's important, but I don't like Van Gogh either. You know who I like? I like Liechtenstein. And that's crazy because you can say, well, there's more effort put into Picasso and Van Gogh than there is Liechtenstein. All it is like color tone matching. I don't know if anybody knows Liechtenstein. It's like the pop art, it's comic art. But to me, I love that. But that doesn't discount me from loving all these other art. And that's what I kind of had to realize, is that I can't keep saying that I make my art so people will like it. That shouldn't be a factor in it. Like that's not why people want to buy it, is if it looks good. Some might, but I like to think the reason people want to buy art is because of how it makes them feel. Like they'll literally, me and Zoe were watching like I think it was like an artist alley tour where they go around the booths and looking at them, and there was a one button that just had like a blank face on it. Like it was three lines, two dots, and like a straight line for a mouth. And I said, Zoe, I would buy that in an instant. I don't know why. It just made me feel, but and then it was like a sea of all this other amazing detailed art that probably took like hours to make, but I wanted that one.
I laughed because I looked at that button and I went, I don't know what's, you know, making you drawn into that one button, but if it's creating emotion, that's the beauty of it, you know.
Right.
I also said, like, you know, if I were to see my favorite character in a sea of art, you know, I'd go and buy it. I don't care how small the print is. I don't care how it's depicted. If I see my favorite character, I'm gonna buy it because it just brings me so much joy. It's art's very, yeah, I feel like art is very
subjective when it comes
very
to
subjective.
like yeah,
very
like
subjective.
What is it?
Each to their own.
I think that's really the heart of something is like clicking inside me right now as we speak, because I'm literally like, you're really riding an emotional wave. I saw somebody on TikTok recently say, hey, I'm not in love with this character from Wonderland, that Disney game, and they bought like $3,000 worth of this character, and it's because their emotion for this character had died down by then, whereas their new hobby or interest is something newer, and it, you know, probably Baldur's Gate fucking 3, and and it's one of those things where it's like, you really, like, as artists, you ride an emotional wave.
I think it's also draws down to a comfort thing. I think people do things, people see the business side of it. They go, okay, it's popular, we're going to make money on it. That's a business side, and I commend them for them because they do. They end up profiting. Other artists that don't do it for the business side, I see it as a comfort thing. And if we were to bring it back to, because I love the two sides, you say one and I say another, because I'm bringing it back, going back to your last point about people emulating our ability to not be able to do something. So when we see others able to do so, we cause that in ourselves. We punish ourselves. They can emulate it so well.
Holy
I can't
shit.
emulate it. And then it's that instant, I don't like this because I can't do it. So it's really, yeah,
Whoa.
I know, there's the gold nugget. There is the gold nugget.
Oh my god, there's the gold nugget.
So...
Oh my gosh, dude. I don't know why what you said just blew my fucking mind. Also, the reason we called it the Gold Nugget Podcast is because we just, Zoe obviously just dropped one. We're, you know, we're in this like mine, like, and it doesn't have to be art, it can be life in general, but like it's just these little things that like make you think, oh my god, like I needed to hear
and
that.
Sometimes we do. Sometimes we really need a wake-up call for ourselves because, you know, sometimes our own toxic behaviors, we got to catch ourselves out of it, you know, like, oh, you know, why don't you like this? You got to really like dig deep and go, that's right, because I can't do it and they can. And I feel shame. Like there's that shame of I can't do it and I'm not going to be seen.
Oh, the shame.
That's where the shame comes in. And then that's where the stuck feeling comes in because it's like, I can't move forward. But that's okay. But that is okay. And it is normal. And you can't do everything. That's, you know, you can't be perfect. And that's okay.
Well, speaking on shame, what is it? I listened to the Jeanette McCurdy like podcast. It's called Hard Feelings, and what she said, because you were speaking on shame. Whenever it comes to shame, it's actually a feeling that doesn't serve you.
No.
Like if you have done something actively and you feel bad about it, that's guilt. But when it comes to shame, is that you are the thing that is bad. And that will never, that's something that never has served me. Like I have tried so hard to punish myself into becoming a flower. That's not, you know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like you try so hard to like, I have beaten myself
but you're
up.
not doing the fertilizing.
Yeah.
You're
okay.
not doing the fertilizing.
All right, horticulture. All right. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
To the soil.
I've never planted a flower in my life.
Not me, just like, yes, plants. You haven't tended to the soil. You haven't checked its pH. You haven't checked its, you know, fertilizer. Like all that, the soil levels.
Care.
It's care. You haven't done it. And that quote that we always talk about that we absolutely love, you know, don't chase the butterflies, tend to your own garden and let them come to you. Like I love that so much.
Oh,
I love that. I stick by that.
Oh my god. I don't know what the fuck we were talking about. I remember like texting you because me and Zoe are like the pickup twins or whatever. like I'm always like, hey Zoe, like I'm dealing with this stupid shit, and Zoe's like, here I got like mantras on mantras, man.
Just like throw out new ones.
And one of them fucking. Yeah, you were because I think I was doing the same shit where I was like, dude, I don't know if like this art is gonna reach anybody or like if I'm just doing it for myself. And you're like, hey man, like like perspective, have
Yeah.
some. Sorry,
No,
I don't want to be
it's
rude,
not.
but hey man, have some perspective. Let your whole thing where it was like tend to your own garden and the butterflies will come. Don't just chase the butter. And it's just like, dude, it literally. I love the concept of minding your own business so much. It has stopped
It's
me.
peace. It's peace.
It is because you start losing a lot of like the control that you thought you had
Mm-hmm.
because you have none. Like really, I love it
No,
when
and that's stressful. It's
yeah.
stressful when you don't have control, especially when control is its own theme. We should do as a different podcast segue
Oh,
because
control.
control can. There's so much to do with control.
Listen, you're
So
trying
much.
so hard to control your environment and to control people and control the way people see you when really it is none of your business what other people think of you. Every single time I have ever gotten any kind of person like I don't know where I got this like notion that I should believe in that. I have no idea where this comes from, but
Yep.
how you think of whatever I do is none of your business. Unless I'm doing a crime, it is none of your
No,
business.
it's yeah.
Yeah, if I'm, killing somebody, obviously it's everyone's business, but
No, I always think that people are mirrors. Sometimes you can, when you look at someone, you can see a version of yourself in them too. I always see people as lessons. They come and go in your life, or
mhm.
certain things that are happening. It's all mirror work. That's how I always view people. And sometimes if we're referring to like other people, like feeling like you need to control your environment or other people around you, you can't control how people do. You can't control how people think. That's a
Mhm.
losing battle. That is wasted energy.
So many times have stopped myself because I try to control my environment, but what I really am is I'm trying to manipulate things. And that word just punches me in the gut because I'm like, I don't want to be a manipulator. I don't want to do this. Manipulating your environment, you don't need to do that. You just need to be. You
Yeah,
don't
but
need
that
to
is
manipulate.
it's a form of safety. That's why people do the things they do. It's a form of
I thought you
safety.
said white people.
White people.
That's
White
why
people.
white people do the things that they do. And I'm like, that's a big nugget you just dropped.
My bad. I'm so sorry. I gotta
Oh my
like
god.
pronounce my. I should
Wild.
try and
No, it's all good. I just thought it was
pronounce
super.
my words properly.
All right, what was that? What was that? What was that all about? What were you saying?
That's funny. Oh
But
goodness. No, I feel like that it really is people, and we all do it. We all do it. It's a form of safetyness. If we don't have that control, it's like, oh goodness, like I don't feel safe. I need to fix this environment in order for me to feel grounded again. But that's stressful too, because you may be disturbing your own peace. You could be disturbing other people's peace. It's a tricky one, and you can be going back to the theme. You could be stuck in that mindset of constantly doing that, but
you
long
know
term,
what?
it's not a
Yeah,
healthy thing too. So
there was something that happened. I think it was last week or something where me and you were like, we have shit to do this week and we're dreading it. And then we had to dissect why we
yes,
were like we were
that's right.
actually stuck. Like obviously we're fine now. Like
Yes,
me and you are on the
yes.
fucking like up and up, but it's because we had to like dig a little deeper cuz I was telling you I was like, "Man, I have to go and I'm like waiting for I think it was like a doctor's appointment or something and I was like I'm dreading it and I felt myself just be like, incapacitated by it. And a lot of people are like that's ADHD and I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, if everybody has ADHD, then I guess everybody feels this way." But you were also feeling it because you had like a party to go to or something.
Yeah. I was dreading having to go out and be social, which is very normal for a lot of people, but I particularly was very dreading that day. But it turned out to be a good day. I'm glad I went in the end. It was really great. But I think it's like either overwhelming ourselves or no. The golden nugget for that was we're so used to conserving our energy for everyone else that we don't do it for ourselves. So, for example, going based of your what you mentioned was, you had to go to work, let's just say at 8 o'clock, you'd wake up at 7, and you wouldn't do anything in between that 1 hour because you're conserving your energy for that work.
Yes.
Where you could have had that energy to go eat or have a quick body shower if you needed to do so, if you didn't have one at night, or to, go quickly feed the animals or water your plants. I don't know what, people do, but, I do that too, where if I have a party or I have an event or I have to go to, let's just say, meet up at the shops with a friend, if I've got like 2 hours to that time, I don't want to play a video game. I don't want to draw because it's almost like...
Well, you didn't even want to, like, open your commissions, like, days before because you were...
Yeah.
And literally after we finished talking, you were like, I'm going to open my commissions.
Yeah, because I had that realization, like, no, I can't keep doing that because it's not, it's not serving me well. I keep stressing about, conserving energy when I'm not doing it for myself. And it's not a big deal either. Like, this whole energy, for what? Like, what are we conserving energy for? But it's in our head. We're so used to that.
Yeah.
We can't help it. So I'm sure there's people out there that do the same, where they feel stuck having to do something before an event.
I mean, like, as much as we're like, we are not the staple of mankind. No. Like, the things that we say, these are tips we're dropping. We're not dropping, like, there could be a psychologist that's like, oh, you guys got it completely wrong. It's actually your fucked up brain chemistry and also your mom. And I'd be like, you know what, Becky? God damn it, am I paying you $200 to kick my ass or what? And literally, I remember how I felt when I was like, why does 20 minutes before I'm going out the door. I always dreaded waking up early, so I wake up 15 minutes before I'm supposed to go out the door because I like everything in a high speed chase. And that was that, it was, like you said, feeling stuck because you're conserving for other people. And I feel like that's why I feel stuck all the time, as I'm always thinking about other people, regardless if it's art, regardless if it's something I'm about to do. You feel stuck because you don't, well, I don't have this mentality where I need to, for one, mind my own business, and for one, tend my own garden.
That's at the end of the day, it's all part of learning. It's all part of the evolution. It's all part of upgrading yourself, and it's the maturity too. It's all that. And I feel like we become our own teachers, and you come across other people that can help guide you as well. Like, no one has the answers for everything, but I feel like a simple guiding word or someone else's experience can really help other people have that mental check where it might help them in their daily lives. So no, I'm glad we did start this podcast because we can talk about our own experience, talk about certain topics. Who knows, whoever listens to it can, whether or not they relate to it, it's up to them. But it's just an honest feeling.
It's not like nothing I have said in this recording has been a lie or fictional. Like, everything is just like how I felt. I even said, like, some things are dark thoughts because that's what it comes down to. And that's the thing, you don't see a lot of honesty now. It does feel like, and that's what we were talking about earlier, is just like, you look up to people who are their evolved self, but they don't want to share like what they were, and that's where we are right now.
And it's beautiful.
And it's beautiful.
And it's beautiful.
What is it?
No, it's fun.
We have absolutely fucked up the first goal, and I think the better mentality is going to be that we get better at figuring out how to wrap things up 30 minutes. Damn it, Trey, did you just use the bathroom while I'm recording? God damn it, we're doing the send-off. I'm keeping it in. And but we're gonna work on it. We're just gonna have to get better.
I'm sure we'll find something out. We'll just pull out the main prompts and we'll work it out. But I think we did excellent in saying, look, we've got 55 minutes of material.
55, absolutely. And I think even if I don't touch it, I think that we did a great job, and it doesn't matter who listens. I think me and you did a great job. I'll listen to it and I'll like
Our
it.
first time. Yeah, me too. That's good, positive.
All right. Well, everyone, thank you so much for listening. If you have, and we look forward to doing more of these, and I hope you did like it. The lesson was that we don't care if you like it, but I think
no. Oh my God, let me help.
Okay.
Wrap it up. The lesson is, if you're feeling stuck, it is normal and it's okay. And whatever part of your journey that you're on, please know that every person on this world has been in your shoes.
Thanks for listening.
After you.
Well, now I'm kind of awkward.
No, it's like, this is daunting now.
This is the worst part. Well, what is it? And thank you so much for.
Thank you.
God, Zoe!
Oh my God!
You can do it.
Okay. Okay, let's go. Oh no, I'm laughing. Thank you so much for listening.
This is the fucking
Mercy,
worst.
take over. No, you gotta do it.
Okay. Thank you so much for
God.
listening. We hope that you can listen again.
Thank you for listening to our first podcast. I hope you enjoyed. It is our first time. We are both quite nervous, and forgive us if we did ramble. We will try.
I don't need your forgiveness.
Next podcast.
Come on, Zoe. We have to keep morals up.
Look, we're both having fun, and it's something new, and we're probably going to take away our own lessons through this as well. We both probably had our own wake-up calls in the discussion, which is awesome. And yeah, this is Red Trooper.
Well, it's Zoe, and then I'm Mercy, but I'm also Delicacy Mercy on Instagram.
Oh, awesome. Did we get it?